Many of you guys have been talking about it, and a few of you guys have asked when this review is coming. And guys, it is finally here. We're going to be talking about Deadpool and Wolverine. I finally got a chance to check it out this past weekend. What did I think about it? Well, stick around and let's talk about it. A listless Wade Wilson toils away in civilian life with his days as the morally flexible mercenary Deadpool behind him, but when his home world faces extinction, Wade must reluctantly suit up again with an even more reluctant Wolverine. The film stars Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman, Emma Corrin, Matthew Macfadyen, Jennifer Gardner, Wesley Snipes, Channing Tatum, Chris Evans, and many more, and was directed by Shawn Levy, and he's done films like Free Guy, the Night of the Museum franchise, This Is Where I Leave You, Date Night, The Adam Project, and many more. Deadpool and Wolverine. Now, I was not really excited for this film, mainly because recently I just rewatched both of the Deadpool films. I hadn't watched either one of them since the theater. The first Deadpool is okay to me. I like the beginning, I like the end. The middle there, it's okay. It's just nothing where I would really want to rewatch it or anything like that. The second film to me is just kind of meh. The story isn't really there for me. The comedy doesn't really land for me, and it's just not something that I really want to rewatch. So honestly, going into this film, I was kind of dreading it, and really the only reason I was going to go check this film out is mainly because my wife really likes Deadpool, hence why I'm just now getting to this film. But after watching this film, I can say some things that I really did like about this film, and there are things that I did not really like about this film, though I think some things have been improved upon here, and then I think other things are just kind of the same old Deadpool, and nothing really that has changed in certain aspects of the film. Now, we find ourselves here in this story where we have Wade Wilson, who is retired from being Deadpool. He is a used car salesman, and he is working with his friend Peter. He gets kidnapped by Paradox, the TVA, and they are destroying his world, and he has this device in which he's going to destroy the world even faster. So he then goes out to find Logan, aka Wolverine, and try to see if he can save the day, in which he finds the worst Wolverine, who apparently just can't really save the X-Men, apparently. And so when he finds this guy, brings him back to Paradox, he ends up taking both of these guys and sending them to the void. Backing up a little bit and just talking about my experience. So I got there early at the theater, as I always do. I went to a different theater. I usually go to AMC. I went to a theater closer to my house just because it was just convenient at the time. So bought my tickets, sat down, all that jazz. You know, before the previews, the sound is going, but the screen is black, so I'm already worried about the picture not working. The previews start going, the screen is still not up. I tell the theater employees, and then we have a problem because we're going through the previews, and I'm thinking, oh crap, they're not going to be able to get the movie going. About a half an hour goes by, and about 3 times restarting the projector later, we finally got the movie, and then we got the intro to Deadpool. And I will say this, that the intro to Deadpool was so fun. I love the slow-mo aspect. It definitely reminded me of like 300 in that aspect. The film is very bloody, and it starts off bloody, and it throws all the punches that it can at you. Deadpool is already throwing in the humor right in the beginning of the film. You got NSYNC's Bye 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 playing, which is a testament to the soundtrack here, because you have Goo Goo Dolls, you have Madonna, you have Avril Lavigne. You have such a really good soundtrack here throughout this film, and it pours on all these songs. The fact that they got all these tracks to be in a big movie like this is just unbelievable. It completely works with this film, going from transitioning to scene. Deadpool here, he is funny. Now, I think I enjoyed his jokes a lot more in this film. Him teaming up with Wolverine was just absolutely something really cool. I love to see Wolverine's older suit actually on screen and see them team up together and trying to find a way to get out of the void. Just seeing them on screen and just different things that are happening on screen with the comedy aspect, it just really is really cool. There's a lot of cameos in here. I am going to talk about the different types of cameos that are in here, so if you don't want those spoilers, go ahead and come back. My favorite cameo here is definitely Gambit, played by Channing Tatum. I loved his Creole accent. He was really funny, and he had me laughing throughout most of this runtime. You have Wesley Snipes from Blade. I've never seen a Blade film, for the record. Elektra, played by Jennifer Gardner. It was great to see her on screen. I've never seen any of her previous movies, so it was cool to just see her on screen. Chris Evans. Now, I honestly thought that he was Captain America here, and then just like Deadpool, finding out that he's actually Johnny Storm, I thought we were going to have a little bit of reuniting with the Avengers at that moment, just like Deadpool did. So that was really cool to see him on screen. The little jabs at 20th Century Fox, you have the sign actually buried down in the sand, in which the void is very much like Mad Max. They have some jokes towards Mad Max, and there's a lot of fourth wall breaking here. Deadpool, he takes some jabs at Disney, and he just throws all the punches that he can. Now, Cassandra Nova, knowing that she is the twin sister of Professor Xavier, that was really cool. I liked when she could actually take her fingers and go inside the brain of different people. That was really cool. And then a spoiler alert in here, when she kills off Johnny Storm, that was really cool. I love to see more of that, but unfortunately we don't see a lot of that. And a lot of times this movie, it tends to not have the best storyline, and that's where, from a critic standpoint, that's where this film, it kind of fails to me, because it has a very weak story. It has a lot of good humor that really gets you through the movie. There's a lot of good action. There's blood, a lot of CGI blood, of course. But I really did enjoy that, when there's a lot of cool fights and there's a lot of blood, and all that is really cool. But at the same time, from a story aspect, this is very weak. And when I put on my critic hat here, I could say that from the story standpoint, this is really lacking. There's just not a lot here, I would say, that's really gripping within the story. And I think a lot of people don't really care about that. I think the fact that they have just Deadpool and Wolverine teaming up, the comedy and the cameos, that's enough for them to really say this is a 5 out of 5 movie. And unfortunately for me, I can't really say that. But I could say that I was entertained a lot throughout this film, though some of the jokes here don't really land. There's certain jokes, especially with like the different types of Deadpools when they're actually on Earth again. That didn't really make me laugh, to be honest. The dog joke, I love dogs, don't get me wrong, but the dog joke just didn't really land for me. And a lot of times this film doesn't give you a lot of room to breathe. It's just throwing joke after joke after joke. And I was getting a little bit tired as this film was going along, because there's just so much really being thrown at you and nothing really of substance of a story. Cassandra Nova, she is another problem as well, because she had the potential to be a really good villain, especially when she killed Johnny Storm. I was like, wow, that is really cool. Are we going to get more of that? And we never really do. And really, as the film goes along and as we're coming to a close, and she uses the Doctor Strange portal to get our characters back to Earth, which I really did like. I really do like Doctor Strange. So that was a cool little callback to Doctor Strange. But it was just too convenient. I felt a lot of things in here were just too convenient to really help move the plot along. A lot of times when we have Wolverine and Deadpool on screen, there's a lot of banter between them, and they're bickering a lot, and obviously like they're trying to kill each other, it seems like, at a lot of points, like they're stabbing each other and everything like that. So those little moments, yeah, they may be funny at times, but a lot of times it really bogs down the runtime and doesn't really make for a very exciting story. All the cameo characters actually battling the void was absolutely awesome to see. Gambit being my favorite, and throwing his little cards around and everything like that. It definitely brought me back to the old cartoon, and just seeing them all on screen and battle. I wish we got a little bit more of that. Obviously, we don't get to see all those characters when our characters, Deadpool and Wolverine, are back on Earth, and we have Cassandra Nova actually assembling this army of Deadpools that they have to battle. Though it was cool that they could actually regenerate, and we get to see them really fight them all at once. Yeah, that was really cool, and you can kind of pick out the different Deadpools. But again, I didn't really find it really funny overall on that aspect. So as far as the score for this film, I would give it a 3 out of 5. From a standpoint of just this being fun, having good action, having comedy, which I was mixed on in some aspects, and having fan service, I think all that's there. From a really good villain, not so much, though there is potential there. And from a standpoint of a story, it's kind of weak. So as far as this movie goes, with this being a 3 out of 5, I kind of would rank it over the first film in a way because it's a lot more fun than the first film. Though I can say that maybe on a different day, maybe the first film would be technically better than this film. But I think overall, this is kind of like the ultimate movie. Like if you're looking for fan service and you're looking for cameos and all these different Easter eggs, I think this is that film, and I can understand why people would give this a 5 out of 5 if they're really into the comics. There's obviously elements from Loki and different shows if you watch them, which I haven't watched all those shows, so maybe I didn't get every little reference that was actually in here, and maybe even like the time period, I wouldn't say that I really got that until I actually looked it up later on after I watched this film to see what time period we were actually in and where this really actually fell, because again, we're dealing with multiverses and a whole bunch of different things, so when you're dealing with all that, it can get a little bit confusing. But overall, I can say that I had a good enough time. I would definitely give this film another watch, despite the fact that it does have a weaker storyline and not the best villain, though overall I can say that it was a fun enough time at the theater. So those are my thoughts on Deadpool and Wolverine. What did you guys think about this film? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you just think it was kind of meh? And if you have not checked it out yet, are you going to check it out at theater, or are you going to wait for VOD or Disney Plus? Leave any and all comments down below, and also rank all 3 films down below as well. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.